What's going on, guys? We got another big trade going down in the NHL today with the Tampa Bay Lightning getting Oliver Bjorkstrand, Yanni Gourde, and a 5th-round pick from the Seattle Kraken for Michael Eyssimont, a 2nd-round pick, and 2 first-rounders. Obviously, Tampa Bay's always very aggressive come trade deadline, trying to make those pushes for the Stanley Cup. They've done similar trades to this a couple times in the past. The first one, of course, being Brandon Hagel. They got a couple first-round picks. At the time, I thought it was an overpay. As it turns out, it was actually probably a steal. The other time was when they gave, I think, a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for Tanner Jeannot. That one at the time, I thought was an overpay. As it turned out, it definitely was. So far, they're 50-50 on these. We'll see how this one turns out. There's actually more moving parts with this trade as well. As you guys can see, the Red Wings are actually involved, my team. We're getting a 4th-round pick for retaining a further 50% on Yanni Gourde. Basically, the Kraken retained 50, gave him the Red Wings, they retained another 50, so 25% of his total contract. Also, too, not shown in the original trade, but Kyle Coyne, who plays for Harvard, his rights go to Tampa Bay. He's a pending college free agent who had to sign by this summer. I'm not sure if the Red Wings are even going to sign him or not, but of course, Tampa Bay does get him if they do, choose to sign him. Now, Coyne's actually not even in her roster, so I'm going to add a future 6th-round pick to make up for him. Obviously, Seattle actually didn't give him up. That was the Red Wings, but Seattle's also not getting back the 4th-round pick. It's the Red Wings, so in this trade, we're just going to have Seattle, doing the Red Wings part, essentially. Now, it's the better of the 2 fourths here between the Oilers and the Lightning. I feel like the Oilers probably go on a deeper run this year than the Lightning, so we'll say the Lightning 4th there is higher. So basically, that's the Red Wings part in retaining, 25% of Yanni Gourde's total contract. Now, getting to the real meat and potatoes of this trade, you've got Oliver Bjorkstrand, of course, who's the big get. 85 overall in game. You can see the Lightning do want him. 29 years old, so still relatively young, making $5.4 million for the rest of this year as well as next year. I think he immediately slots into their 2nd-line right wing, playing with Cirelli and Brandon Hagel. Definitely should make that a very formidable top 6. Of course, with Gensel, Point, and Kucherov on that top line. You guys can see Bjorkstrand there. Solid attributes. We look at his stats. You can see last year, just under 60 points. Obviously, this year with the Kraken, not doing as good. But still, I feel like he's more or less a 50-point guy. And, the Tampa Bay Lightning are definitely paying to get him here. And along with him, they're actually getting Yanni Gourde. Again, they're going to get him at a very cheap contract, 1.29, opposed to his regular, 5.2 or whatever it was. I feel like Yanni Gourde's a decent 3rd-line player. You can see in game, 83 overall there at 32. He's actually got a couple X factors, no contest, relentless, 2-way forward. Of course, former Tampa Bay Lightning player. You guys can see a quick jersey swap I made for him. He has put up 64 points once, 17-18, but that was his career high. You can see slowed down. He's more of a, 40-some point guy. This year's actually even slower, but, back with Tampa Bay, I definitely think, he can do better. Kraken also threw in their own 2026 5th-round pick to this deal. So right there, you guys can see everything going over from Seattle. And in terms of players, the only one they're getting back here is Michael Eyssimont, 79 overall, basically a league min deal. I mean, this is probably just a guy that they threw in. They figured he'd be scratched, so give him a chance to actually, play there with the Kraken, especially expiring deal. Maybe have a chance to get re-signed. Now, the big return here, guys, for the Seattle Kraken, of course, is the picks. You can see the Lightning actually have no 1st-rounder in 2025. They do have 4 7ths for some reason. So random. I guess they're just hoping one of those hits. Now, I see EA actually made a mistake here. The 2nd-round pick they're getting back from the Tampa Bay Lightning is actually the Maple Leafs 2nd-round pick, which they got back from Utah in the Sergachev trade. Apparently, they actually gave them the Utah pick, so I'll fix that when we do the other side of this trade. But I guess for now, we'll do the LA Kings one. That should have pretty similar value to the Leafs, so they're both going to be playoff teams. They also get a 2026 first and a 2027 first. So like I was saying, Seattle here getting an absolute haul. Again, the top pick swap there is the Red Wings part of the trade. You then have the Lightning giving up 2 firsts, a 2nd, and an Eyssimont for Oliver Bjorkstrand, Yanni Gourde, and a 5th. Now, I think we'll actually have to retain a slight amount here on Bjorkstrand. I don't think it'll affect the trade too much. I was already moving around a bunch of pieces here trying to make this trade happen. Unfortunately, just very, very tough because Tampa Bay Lightning were actually already at the league maximum salary cap. 800K, they will, do this trade. That'll probably boost Bjorkstrand's value a tiny bit, but again, overall, it's the same kind of moving pieces. You can see the value there on the Lightning side is quite higher than it is on the Kraken's. If it's not double, it's close. Medium difficulty, I really don't see them saying yes to this, but we'll give it a shot. And yeah, trade's rejected. The proposal isn't acceptable. They are interested in Bjorkstrand if you want to try again. I mean, they're also interested in Yanni Gourde, right? But kind of seen this one coming. And now after that trade, guys, just an updated look at the Kraken line. So you got Schwartz, Beniers, and Kakos on the 1st line. Kakko, of course, been playing really good since getting traded there from the Rangers. 2nd line there, Burakovsky, Stevenson, Tolvanen. Stevenson, I think definitely they overpaid a bit in free agency. After that, you got Jerry McCann on the 3rd line. There have been some trade rumors about him. Shane Wright there, I think, playing pretty well this year. Jordan Eberle was actually 4th line before this trade, the captain. We'll see whether or not he's actually on the move. And then on the fourth line, you got Daniel Sprong, who's actually in the AHL right now. I got Tanev playing in the middle. He's another guy who could be traded on expiring deal. And then Eyssimont, of course, coming back. Defensively, no change. There have been some talks about potentially them trading Jamie Oleksiak, so we'll see if that gets done. And then goaltending, of course, no changes there either. And now we're going to try to trade from the Lightning's perspective. As you can see, I've already added the Red Wings part. I should mention, too, my actual thoughts on the trade. Obviously, I feel like the Lightning definitely overpaid here, but I actually, kind of like the trade. I respect them just going all out, trying to win another Stanley Cup while you have that core of, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, Vasilevsky. You can add Gensel to that, Brandon Hagel, Cirelli. Like, you're in win now mode. Your first round picks, even if you're out in the first round, are still, pretty late first round picks. I feel like just keep going for it while you have that core. I honestly, like I said, respect it. I do think they probably gave up a bit too much, but again, if they wanted Gourde back, they liked him in the playoffs, in that bottom six role. They liked Bjorkstrand's game as well, and they got the guys they wanted. I really can't hate on it. So again, Seattle wins this trade in my opinion, but at the same time, I really respect, the Lightning just saying, screw it, going all out, trying to win another cup. And honestly, if they do, at that point, I'd say you could probably call them a dynasty, as they will have won back-to-back cups, plus made the cup final back-to-back-to-back. And then, of course, they're adding a third Stanley Cup into that resume. It'd be pretty hard to, not call them a dynasty at that point. And again, that's why they don't really care about these picks. These are players that are going to take 3 to 4 years to develop and maybe make your NHL team, when right now you have a team that, could be winning that Stanley Cup. And again, Oliver Bjorkstrand, I think, is going to be a perfect fit on that third line right wing spot. I should mention too, guys, with both Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde, they actually did have modified no trade clauses. And obviously in real life, both of them are waving to go to Tampa because they want to have a chance at the Stanley Cup. And in game, I actually had to take both their clauses off, as for some reason, both of them had Tampa Bay on their no trade team, which for Gourde makes no sense, returning to his old team. Bjorkstrand as well, I don't really know what would cause that to happen, but we'll add those two players, plus the Seattle 2026 5th round pick. As you guys can see here, Seattle does, of course, want the picks, at least 2025, 2026. 2027 is too far out for them. They don't want Eyssimont. Gourde's on the block. Bjorkstrand is not. Now, we're actually going to have to retain on Bjorkstrand here again, and it's not because of salary cap right now. It's because of future salary cap. In real life, of course, it's going up more than in game. We'll retain, hopefully not too much here, as that'll affect the trade. All right, so we had to retain 100K on Oliver Bjorkstrand to have Tampa Bay salary cap compliant for next season. Pretty kind of stupid, honestly, but we'll see if this trade goes through. The value's way on our side. If the 100K is actually a factor, this game needs fixed. Again, in my opinion, I feel like Yanni Gourde's probably worth a second max, and then Bjorkstrand there getting 2 firsts is an absolute haul. If you guys forget, a few years ago, Columbus traded Bjorkstrand to the Seattle Kraken for only a 3rd and 4th round pick. I believe they were actually at the salary cap max at the time, so they had to shed some salary. The fact, Seattle had a few good seasons from him, and turning a 3rd and a 4th into 2 firsts is incredible work by the GM there and Ron Francis. And then again, in regards to Julian Breezeball making this trade, I respect the aggressiveness, just going all out, trying to win a cup, even if it is a bit of an overpay. We'll see what happens here, though. Maybe Seattle rejects, in which case EA thinks it's a fair deal. No, Seattle does accept, so yeah. EA does think Seattle won that one, and again, I would agree, but I do respect it from the Lightning side. And after that trade, here's what Tampa's lines might look like. Obviously, that first line is stacked. Gensel, Point, and Kucherov leading the way. Second line, though, as I mentioned, Bjorkstrand, Cirelli, and Hagel, I think is very formidable. Definitely gives them a great top 6. Third line even, you got Paul and Gourde. I got Chaffee at the third line right wing spot. Obviously, they'll try whoever there. Goncalves there on the fourth line, playing with Glendening and Gergensen. Also, too, right now, I've got Connor Geekie scratch. I think, especially come playoff time, whether there's injuries or just trying somebody, he could work his way back in the lineup. Defensively, too, they got Herbig scratch. So, they do have options. Speaking of the defense, you guys are wondering, even without, Sergachev this year, Hedman, Moser, Chernik, McDonough, very solid top 4. Lilberg, Radish as well in the bottom 6. Good defensive depth. Of course, led by Vasilevsky, one of the best playoff goalies of all time. Tampa Bay is going to be a force here for sure. Going to be really exciting to see, who they match up with in that first round. Could it be Battle of Florida there if they play Panthers, or could they get the Maple Leafs? And obviously, you guys already know what Yanni Gourde looks like as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but give you your first look at Oliver Bjorkstrand here, at least in game, rocking that Tampa blue and white. So right there you can see Bjorkstrand at number 22 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I feel like it looks pretty good. Like I said, I think he'll fit in very well there. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments section which team you think won the trade. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.